Back to Free Speech Nation with me, Andrew Doyle. So is the Equality Act broken? Well, a new report from the campaign group Don't Divide Us has examined over 5,000 employment tribunal cases involving claims of race discrimination, either as the main issue or a contributing factor. And the report argues that the Equality Act may actually be fueling serious problems in the workplace. So I'm joined now by coordinator of Don't Divide Us, Dr. Alka Sehgal Cuthbert. Alka, welcome to the show. So firstly, tell us about your report.
Yep, it's a report that in which we've audited, as you said, over 5,000 employment tribunal hearing cases. There's also a section dealing with the historical and the jurisprudence, the historical development and the jurisprudence of the Equality Act, because it's often presented as just a technical bundling up of anti-discrimination legislation that existed before. And that's how Harriet Harman presented it in 2010. But actually, it's very different. It's a different beast.
Well, of course, a lot of people would say, but surely, you know, you shouldn't be able to discriminate in the workplace on the basis of skin colour. So why is the Equality Act a problem? Well,
I mean, you have to, first of all, just, you know, don't take the label for granted, right? We're not talking about the protections against discrimination on, you know, which will affect dismissal, promotion, hiring, etc. All of those protections were there before the Equality Act, right? In the similar case in the gender debate, you know, the single-sex toilets was not in the Equality Act, it was in the health and safety regulations. Yes. So there is existing legislation which protects workers as employees from concrete, objective acts of discrimination. And obviously, we are totally for that. We're not against that. The Equality Act bundled them up, that's true, technically, but it also overlaid the whole legislation through a kind of cultural gloss, and that was mainly through the public sector equality duty, and then incorporating harassment, that has just given the Equality Act legs to be virtually limitless in what it covers and who it covers. And in fact, your earlier item with the football fan was saying, well, under equality's protection, you can't, and you can see how it really restricts.
Well, it seems as though a lot of people will have recourse to the Equality Act and say that they've been discriminated against because they have perceived something to have been motivated by hatred or prejudice against a protected characteristic. That can be weaponised, can't it?
Yes, it can. I mean, first of all, just some numbers just to give you... I think people really need to know the scope of this, because when we started the report, I thought, oh, you know, maybe a week or two, a few hundred cases, it will be done and dusted in 2 months' time. Since 2017 to 2024, the number of employment tribunal cases is over 200,000. Right? Now, they're not all equalities. You know, some of those might be just straightforward work, you know, constructive dismissal, things like that. However, we sampled for the the cases that were brought under race discrimination, which were over 5,000, out of which 281, that's 5%, were upheld. So either, as Rod Liddell says, the employment judiciary is being run by the Ku Klux Klan, or he puts it that, you know, there are grifters at work, and we do find examples of that. But the much bigger proportion of them, because we also do a qualitative analysis of the hearing records, so you can see how people are thinking, how people are experiencing their workplace relationships. And what you see is something, it's not really grift, but it is a kind of, people just see themselves in terms of protected characteristics. That makes them very defensive.
Yes.
And when you're defensive, you tend to go on the attack and you're very prone to things. And really now what we're getting is that is now leading to segregation. And we see it in the kind of positive act that's written in through positive action, by the way, explicitly. But you can see it, you know, you can see it in Cambridge and Oxford with some of their recruitment policies, which are just for, you know, ethnic minorities. But, I mean, it's not just academia, and it's not just, you know, big institutions. It's like every single workplace, every single service and provider is covered by the Equality Act. So basically, once you walk out your front door, anywhere you go.
So to sort of sum up, I mean, are you suggesting that what we need to do is perhaps to try and see us as colleagues and friends and human beings, first and foremost, as that, but not through these identity characteristics that are enshrined?
I mean, absolutely. You know, you've got to remember the progress that Britain has made in terms of race relations from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to the 2000s. has been done without the Equality Act.
Yes.
Right? And since the Equality Act, have we seen greater harmony in society or the workplaces? No, we haven't. We've seen increasing fractiousness. So it is doing something very, very corrosive. We've just looked at race. There are obviously other categories that we're calling for a legal review of it, to see what protections we want that already exist in other law, what protections, if any, the Equality Act provides that we may want to keep, if any. This needs to be done. It's a matter of democratic accountability. This has not been... There's been no post-legislative scrutiny of this. That's Absolutely. Up to a government to do. Clearly, Labour aren't going to do it because they want to bring in a new Race Equality Act, which
Yes.
will make things even worse. So it's up to all the other parties to take this on board.
So it's time for a reckoning. Very
Yes.
interesting. Alka, before you go, can you just tell us where can people find out more about this campaign to scrutinise the Act properly?
Well, this is the report. Hard copies, it's also on our website, don'tdivideus.com. We have had a fantastic response to the report and would really like to take it further. We know governments don't tend to do anything unless there's pressure. If you'd like to help us do that, please check out our website and consider supporting us. You can by becoming a subscriber or donating.
Fantastic. Alka, Sehgal, Cuthbert, thanks very much.
Thank you.
So a government spokesperson has replied, saying the UK has a long-standing history of tackling all forms of discrimination and harassment. We are proud of the Equality Act 2010 and the rights and protections it affords individuals of all backgrounds, and will continue to uphold its provisions. So next on Free Speech Nation, I'm going to be joined by journalist Helen Joyce, who will take us through all the groups that are ignoring the Supreme Court ruling on